Hello, everyone. Lloyd Moyer here. I'm standing here in my new shop that is still without power for my lathe. So I have no turning to do, but I'm going a little stir crazy without being in the shop and working on this and filming stuff for you guys. So I thought maybe I would take you on a quick tour of my shop and show you some of the tools that I use, show you a little more closely some of the stuff that you see me working with. So that's what you're going to see in this video. I'm sorry it's not making shavings. I can't wait to get back to that. I have an appointment for like 2 weeks until I get that done. And when that happens, you can bet that I'm going to be doing lots of turning projects. I have a lot of stuff to finish, a lot of stuff I want to rough, so I can't wait for that. But for now, let me take you on a grand tour of my tiny little shop here. So this is my big yellow monster. It is a 3520 Powermatic lathe. It's about 16 or 17 years old. It has I want to say it's a 20-inch swing over the bed. Um, Actually, I have a tape measure. I can tell you. It is yeah, it's it's a 10-inch swing over the bed, so it can turn a 20-inch bowl, and then I do have the bed extension, so I can actually turn something 36 inches in diameter if I really wanted to. I've never tried that. I don't use the outboard very much, but I do occasionally, and it's very useful. Um, this past Christmas, my wife and kids got me a dust extractor, which attaches to the lathe bed, which I love. Used to use a vacuum cleaner that didn't work nearly as well, and this works wonderfully. Some kind of dust extraction, so you don't have to wear a dust mask all the time, is wonderful. Next to my lathe, I have my grinder, and it's just a regular Porter and cable grinder. Nothing special, none of the big diamond wheels or anything like that. My grandfather owned a junkyard, and so he had a guy that was a welder, and he would get scrap metal all the time. So my grinder is on this huge industrial cast iron base that weighs half as much as my lathe. Uh, so it never goes anywhere. I have it sitting on a cart so I can move it when I need to. And then next to my grinder is, as you've seen in some of my other videos, my dinky little bandsaw that actually, I it's on my list to get something much more functional for a bandsaw. But between this and nothing, this does plenty. I'm very happy with it. So those are my big tools. I'm going to show you real quick some of the hand tools that I use too. These are some of my most commonly used gouges. I use this is the 3/8 spindle gouge, which I've started to grind by hand. I had a jig for it to give it, the like you have to get used to this motion when you're sharpening. But the 3/8 spindle gouge is great for smaller pieces. I can rough out smaller pieces with it and do finer detail work on some of the larger pieces. Then I use my 1/2-inch spindle gouge, which it's about time for something new. This one's getting a little long in the tooth, or short in the tooth, as the phrase may be. But this one is ground the same way as the 3/8, and this does all my roughing for. Sorry, my camera doesn't really want to focus on this. Does all my roughing for smaller pieces as well as spindle work, etc. So that's my. Sorry, it's not focusing. Anyway, that's my 1/2-inch spindle gouge. Then my bowl gouges, I have three sizes. This one is my I guess this is the half-inch spindle gouge, and it's got a I actually started, thanks to Richard Raffin, I started grinding it with a longer bevel on one side and a shorter bevel on the other, which is really useful because it can get all the advantages of a fingernail grind on this side, and then all the advantages of a steeper grind on that side. Um, so I've really enjoyed doing that. Now this tool actually is from my McNaughton center saver, the handle, and so this is a double-sided one-way gouge that you can interchange, and I actually can also interchange it with the 3/8 gouge size, which is that one there. So it's exactly the same piece, just different sizes. Then I also have the 5/8 bowl gouge, and this is my heaviest duty gouge. Again, this is a one-way handle, really heavy duty handle. This can handle, if I'm turning, a 20-inch bowl, this is what I'm turning. This is what I'm using. And again, it's a double-sided gouge, just like the other two in the interchangeable handle. I took another one, an old one of these that I had, and just recently made a handle for it, and got a piece of copper pipe, and made a handle for it. And so that's I just had the tool hanging around, but it was too short to go into a handle, so I made a handle for it. So those are my gouges. Sorry, I'm trying this with a little bit of a table set here, just a piece of scrap. These are my scrapers. I really only use a few scrapers. These two, my longer curved, my narrower curved scrapers, I don't use very often, but if I have to reach far into something, I'll use this one. I think this is this looks like it's a half-inch deeper, deep scraper with a heavy handle, and then this one is just a little bit lighter weight. So I use that one some. More often than not, like if I'm digging into a box, I'll use my longer interior scraper, which is this one here, and then I have my my shear scraper, which is also getting towards the end of its life. And this is the one that I have cut at an angle so that I can actually, lift it up on edge and get a shear cut with it. You can get a really, you get a really nice cut with this scraper, or you can, on the outside of the bowl. I also have a much larger bowl scraper. This is my larger bowl scraper, and this is about an inch wide, and pretty thick. And this also is getting ground down towards the end of its life. But again, if I'm on the inside of a bowl, of a larger bowl, this is usually what I'm doing the very middle of with. And again, this is a Henry Taylor, so it's a nice long handle. Now, my one specialty tool that I use and get a lot of use out of, that I've had for some years, is this dovetailing tool. This is so that you can obviously make a dovetail joint to expand your chuck jaws into. You really don't need this. You can use a skew chisel to do the same thing. But this is handy to have because it has the flat side and has the 45-degree angle on it. So if you come across one of these, this one is from, you know what? I was going to say this one is from Buck Brothers, but it's not. It's in a Buck Brothers handle, but the handle broke on this tool, so I had to put it into a different handle. But that's something that I use that I don't see very often, but it's really useful. And I like having that. I don't do much expanding to hold a bowl on the bottom, but I do it all the time on the inside of the bowl to finish the outside. So I really like this. I really like this tool. Those are my scrapers. And then I have a couple of skew chisels, even fewer. I have both a larger skew chisel that, again, I sharpen with a very, very slight radius on it. Sorry, hard to see that, but a very, very slight radius on it makes it easier for me to get a good clean cut with the skew chisel. So I have the wider one and then the narrower one. And that's really all the tools that I use in any kind of regularity. I have some other ones. I have a texturing tool. I have a ring tool that you've seen me use, but I use these. This is really all I use in any kind of regularity. And then incidentally, I have also put all of my tools here on my pegboard, which is right behind me when I'm turning, so I can turn around and grab whatever tool I need. Now, sort of right at eye level, when I'm turning, um, are these two shelves that I will use to hold my chucks and things like that. At least that's the plan. I have a couple of things that I thought I might show you. Again, a gift from watching Richard Raffin. He actually puts his chuck key, this is just an Allen wrench, but put it in a handle. It gives you much more leverage. And it's just much more convenient. So Allen wrench into a handle makes a great chuck key. So I have that one for my record chucks. I have this one for my one-way chuck, and it's just sitting on a magnet. And then that's another Allen key on there. And then up above, I have all my, those are all dividers, each one of these corresponding to one of my chucks, so that I can mark the diameter of a foot, and I don't have to worry about messing around with it. And then I have one extra divider also for just anything else I might need. Just real quick, showing you my chucks. I don't have a lot of chucks. I don't have that much disposable income to go and get them, but let me show you what I use for my chucks. The first chuck I ever bought was this one, which was a record chuck from Novichok, and it came with small jaws that I still have but don't use. But this is the first chuck I ever bought. So when I wanted to buy another chuck, I said, well, hell, why don't I buy some jaws that I can trade out with this, with this chuck, so I can have one chuck but have multiple uses. But then it got to be a pain in the butt to take the Allen key, take all the things out, change it out. So I went and bought, you can buy, or at least you used to be able to buy, record chucks with no jaws with them. So I bought the extra jaws, and then eventually I bought some chucks without anything else on them. So I have 3 record chucks, and I actually have 2 more sets of jaws for the record chucks. I have the ones that it came with, which are small ones, and then I have pin jaws for turning pens and stuff like that, which I really don't use. But I can change any one of these out for them if I want to. Actually, I think I have this sort of medium-sized deep jaws. I have ones that are this size but not as deep also. And then I went and got, after I got the record chuck, I went and bought a one-way chuck. And this is outstanding. This is my workhorse chuck. If I could use one chuck, this would be it. The downside that the record chucks have is that they go from all the way closed, right, which is about there, to all the way open. This one's a little sticky. They go from all the way closed to all the way open, and it's not a huge difference. There's all the way open. I mean, let's look. That is, call it 2.5, and it goes down to Oh, sorry, I hit the camera. From 2.5 to about 1 3/4. Not a huge difference. Again, I have nothing bad to say about the record chucks. They're a great opening price point. They're great for a beginner, even for an intermediate. Somebody like me that's been turning for a long time, I get a lot of use out of them. They're great. I have no complaints. But if I had to do it all over again, I'd have saved some money and just started with a one-way chuck or a Vic Mark. And the biggest advantage is here's the one way at its smallest, that's about 2.5. And then when I open it all the way up, it takes a little longer because it goes a lot further. So it goes from 2.5 to about 4. So it's about 1.5 inch difference instead of about 3/4 of an inch difference. Huge difference there with the one-way chuck. This chuck is also, I don't know, something like $150 more expensive. So, it's trade-off, but it's an excellent investment if you can afford it. So that's my chucks. So last but not least, I thought I'd show you some of my wood storage. These are just some old IKEA shelves that I built up, and I have roughed out bowls and boxes underneath that, along with my belt sander there, and these are some old pieces that are going to get some revision eventually. And then I have the taller IKEA shelves here with some more sort of offcuts and stuff that's waiting to be turned. So that's it. That's the grand tour. I had a refrigerator kiln that some of you may have seen before. I had to get rid of that because this is a downsized shop. This shop is only about oh, I don't know, it might be 10 feet wide by 15 or 18 feet deep. It's plenty for what I do. I don't need a whole wood shop. All I do is turn. So this should be great. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a cozy little space, but it's going to have everything I need. But I can't wait. I can't wait to get to it. But I really appreciate you guys sticking with me and taking my grand tour. And I hope the next time you see me, I'll be making shavings. So I'll see you next time. Thank you.